Good to go.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'll call the December Water Sewer Engineering Committee meeting to order. I'll take a quick attendance. We have myself, Town Attorney Elena Finnan, Superintendent of Water and Sewer Maggetto, Town Supervisor Aaron Cassidy Dorgan, Town Comptroller Kara Parks, Assistant to the Comptroller Janet Wynn, and Receiver of Taxes Diane Percy.
How about that?
Official.
I'm official.
Deal.
Officially unofficial. No, unofficially official.
Take a motion to approve the minutes for the November committee meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And we'll move into attorney plans.
Everybody spells it wrong. It's the worst. ADY and then ON. It's my father spells it correctly. Like every year I get a I love you, Dad, but it doesn't, it really just, it doesn't stick in your head. It really doesn't.
Easy.
Way easier.
Attorney's items.
So the shared easement agreement for 248 Mohawk Trail, the board voted on an easement agreement for a fence, and apparently it's a shed, so
That was my
we have
mistake.
to amend that.
Which one, Mohawk Trail?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a fence around the
That was the one where they said they had a shed and there was something underneath it and then we were
Yeah.
gonna move it.
He has easements, and he wants to shed there. And it's been asking for it for a while, and we waited for a while, and
We put fence on it.
I
is what
think
you're
it's
saying.
That we're looking at for the 17th, and then I'm also looking to have the fence easement agreement for 850 Huntington Drive back, so we can have that on. Just our standard easement agreement, that's all we have.
Super.
Matt, engineering.
in the engineering department, we have, one opening currently. We lost our senior engineer, 4 months ago. We're still looking to replace that person. At this point, we would be willing to take someone within the engineering realm, because there are multiple engineering titles within civil service. So ideally a senior, but if it had to get a junior, we could make do with a junior engineer and then towards promotion in the future. I really don't want to go any lower than a junior engineer, that specific opening, just because of the technical nature of the work that I'd like to have that person.
Junior engineers, the two.
Junior engineer is one of the fundamentals of engineering license. It's a certificate.
For 2 years.
It's your first, it's a 4-year engineering degree. First half of the PE exam, and then it can be a junior. Then within,
Okay.
when you have your engineering certificate, your engineering, the FE certificate, you have to do, we're 4 years where you can take the second half of the test to become a PE, which would then be the senior position.
Okay.
So the junior position is someone that has a degree, but not the license.
So aside from RPI, what are the other local schools? I'm thinking maybe we could push something out to them. They had any December graduates.
Have we posted anything for junior engineer?
It's posted,
Yeah,
we
we
did
had
a
it.
job fair, but it's like,
What's it posted as a I'm sorry, junior or senior?
it might be
I
a
think
closer
we
than
had-
senior.
we had senior. We had this Passed. I could.
We posted the
I
junior.
think it's senior, let me look, but yeah, that's a good thing.
That's junior.
Says a junior.
Yeah.
Post it as both and see what comes in.
Right.
Exactly.
That's how we ended up getting our last senior. He ended up applying for the junior and we had the opening for the senior, so.
We're still talking about that job fair here at Town Hall. Were you there this morning? You were, right?
No,
No. So we talked about that and we were talking about maybe mid-January, like all of us getting our stuff together and doing
Doing
something
it.
here.
Yeah.
As you and I spoke about, Ray wants January 3rd. And I told him that wasn't gonna happen. But we were looking like more like maybe mid-January, 3rd week of January, to have us all have time to get our stuff together, put some advertisements out there, get it out and see what happens, right? And so the worst thing that happens is
nobody shows up.
we start having
We
committee
have to do it
meetings
by
while we're
ourselves.
doing it, right, while we're sitting there.
but it would be for all open positions within the town.
And then
Yeah.
some, because, really, if you think about it, we're
We've got some retirement.
we're becoming an aging population and we're gonna have retirement. So, get out there to people that, this is a worthwhile job to have.
And there's some progression you can take.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
and I
stressed
think
out.
people don't realize that, corporate spends, corporate pays money, which is great when you're young, but, when you're, as you start to age, you need that pension, you need those benefits, you need that paid time off. They don't offer that stuff, and I think people don't get that we are very rich in those categories.
And I also have the retirement command for the engineering office as well. So,
Is that official? Is that on the,
I don't have anything yet, but I only have to have 2 weeks notice from them, and I generally get that,
that's
maybe
January,
3 weeks
right?
from the state.
It's not that it's the junior engineer. So it's
Oh, totally.
not a-
Well, let's keep them
Yeah.
both on there.
Like we handle our stuff, everybody handles their own, the main portion we have access to, like Aaron and Dash.
Yeah. It would be the confidential secretary that we don't have. That's like so it's like such an outstanding issue too, because it's like this crossover between communication, which confidential secretary had typically done, and then IT, which, prior to Josh, he was helping a bit with it, but we don't really have anyone dedicated to it. We have like interns that come and do work. But-
every department had
Yeah,
access.
Yeah,
Was that what you were asking?
that's what Kara was asking.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
We do our own stuff for finance, like I can access our page, but I can't post something for Diane.
Yeah, where that becomes tricky, and this is the intern was working on over the summers, that then all the pages look different and the navigation is different and it just is inconsistent. So it's problematic. I don't have a solution without a big fat sum of money, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to find some free labor.
SCADA software.
So, the annual support is due for the, SCADA software that we use for monitoring at a wastewater treatment plant and our, our sewer pump stations. The dollar amount is, just over what's required for finance. So it's,
Sorry, cross conversations, I lost where we were.
yeah,
Beaver,
I think it's over mine. Yeah.
great.
I mean,
That's not what mine does not state. with me.
Oh, you're on the minutes.
That's all I have.
There's the agenda.
Thank you.
Now it's 3B.
No, well, because for a while, the minutes were following. I was good until we hit that.
So the next, water and sewer maintenance. We're, like Ray mentioned this morning in his meeting, we're still looking for people on for our crews, maintenance crews. Currently have 4 open positions at this point.
Yeah.
And no applicants. No, I just leave it on there.
I said that's what you're. Cute. Keep whatever.
Which one is? Positions.
When, no,
Or,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So that's why I'm wondering if it should go on the agenda, but I think I'll keep them off the agenda.
Yeah.
If they're not likely to be on.
I just want to placeholder. So, the next one, appointed water and sewer maintenance worker 2. This is a promotion from within. I mentioned it last month, but we decided to wait until this month to do it.
Yeah, because it's gonna be effective January because of how his probationary period falls.
So we already.
Who was this one?
Tyler Sutherland.
Okay.
And a lot of Tylers. It's funny. We have certain names and then they just
They repeat
become
themselves.
popular and then the next one is project at the Valley Drive Pump Station. We want to hire a contractor to repair an electrical panel, with this lean potentially. I have a quote, it's over my limits, but believe it may not be financed. It's
This is what Jason.
$5,620. I think if you look at the purchasing policy, it only requires this committee and the town supervisor. Is that correct? Okay. Jen?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get caught up here because I'm
Oh,
so.
okay.
$5,200
5620, yeah,
For,
or a public works, that would be.
I think that's just nature.
Just me.
Okay.
Was that the Valerie Drive pump station?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
What caused the panel to be?
It's just been settling for years. The way they mounted it back in the eighties on one side of two posts. And this, the weight over time is.
So just expected.
He's gonna excavate down, help with doing some of the electrical work, and the contractor's going to excavate down, pull it back up, pour concrete. And then, just make sure that everything stays functional while it's being worked on.
And you have the 600,
5620.
so we can make a motion. for that. We have a motion or something.
No, we should do, I mean, the right way to do it is function.
Is there a motion to authorize 5620 for the repair of the,
I'll make that motion.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That is approved.
Thank you. I need to purchase, parts for our pump station controllers. The cost is $3,000 for the components. Normally that wouldn't require a finance committee, but we purchased from the same vendor. And I know in the past that was an issue. We purchased $4,800 worth of from this vendor already this year. It's back in, I think, in August. So do we need to do a separate?
I feel like it's better safe than
Same
sorry.
parts. It's a different pump station. Type.
I think-
Standardized across pump stations.
I think the purchasing policies is aggregate, so, and that
May
was
as
an issue that
well.
we were having before, so I think it's better safe than sorry.
If it's aggregate, would it be financing?
It would be,
So 48,
Well, you
3.
would just,
it'd be, yeah, 43,000.
So I think the purchasing policy for this morning's meeting. I didn't-
fine.
So while Elena's looking that up, we've been talking for a long time about revising the purchasing policy and it hasn't gotten done. So I think Kara and I are probably gonna take that on and look at it, but we would like input from you guys who do the purchasing to see what's reasonable, because I mean, with the prices, the way things are inflating, we're having to approve like everything now.
I know.
And I feel like we can raise some of those limits.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to raise them to. I'm not the superintendent. You know what I mean?
I'm moving
Like
to
about-
see if everybody's theirs, see what theirs are.
I'll double check it. My thing is, it's not letting me pull it up.
We'll just put it on the finance agenda, and if it doesn't need it, I can send it off.
So I have a tentative resolution on here for purchase of pump station valves. We're waiting on pricing on that. It can be anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. That would require a resolution. We're trying to finalize pricing on that. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We have to wait until the following month to do the work. But, and I know that you have a short deadline, so it doesn't look like we're gonna have it ready by that.
And I did go back and check. It's 10,000, 6501 and up. So 10,000 is finance.
The next item I have is just an update on the Knott Street pavement repair. The paving's done, thankfully, and then the temporary markings have been painted for the season. They're gonna come back in the spring and put epoxy down with striping. That was all part of the original quote for the work. And the traffic signal has been repaired, but I think they're, based on this morning's meeting, that was brought up that there may be some timing issues, so I'm reaching out to DOT to just make sure that they have it set correctly. Some concerns whether or not people are giving enough time to be able to turn, or they're waiting too long to turn. Because it's all controlled by the controls that our contractor fixed, and then may have set it at a default. And DOT just has to tweak it. I added one more item that came up. I'd like to surplus a dump truck. That would be a 2007 Mack. I can get the exact detail.
Next year,
To,
surplus it.
no, I think it was this year, wasn't it?
We have no revenue for sale of equipment for this year, and I think we figured the dump truck, and there was one other thing that we couldn't get rid of because we were waiting on your other truck to be repaired with the,
That was a dump truck.
yeah.
The other thing was waiting for the new camera truck to be put
Functional.
into service, which it is now. That would be the old grout truck. So,
Okay. I want to double check, because I feel like we had this conversation. There's not. Grout truck and the dump truck are
yeah,
the two.
for the two.
Okay.
Even if we surplus it, doesn't mean necessarily sell it immediately. Correct?
Okay.
Yeah, even if you surplus it, you're not getting the money in this year, but if you put it on auction this year. Well, no, we could probably count towards next year's revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's in the list of surplus stuff.
We'll have to check the 2024 list, because there's like $100,000 budgeted across our one, source, six, and water one, and we haven't seen it done.
Let's look.
And I probably have 2 pickup truck sales as surplus at the same time. So we could lose
With the dump truck?
with the dump truck, yeah. Because
So
we
it's a
did
dump truck, for pickup trucks.
2 or 3. I have to look at them. We did finally, I think, receive 3 trucks. It would be most likely 3 pickup trucks that we surplus. We were waiting almost a year and a half, I think, for the pickup trucks.
Oh, yeah.
They finally came in, so. If we have another 1 or 2 still somewhere.
Yeah.
It's incredible how
Being creative.
the supply chain is still, it's not. Next, utility billing. I have on there just a discussion about a water and sewer rate study.
Want me to do that?
Sure.
So we have a company that I've talked about publicly a couple of times, but there's a company called Raft Ellis. They interact with a lot of area municipalities to help in advising on their utility rates, particularly when changes are needed. In this case, we'd obviously be doing a sort of retroactive look at the changes. And then they would be using input both from the water and sewer department and from the community at large to develop a couple of different sets of rates that would be possible to get to the revenue requirement that we would need for each of the different funds. We're looking to have a stakeholder advisory group that would hopefully have representatives from a bunch of different areas of the community. And I say that very loosely because I don't totally know what kind of coverage we'll get, but definitely, obviously, folks from Sewer 6, folks from Sewer 1, maybe people that have irrigation systems and don't, and people use a lot of water and use underneath the base. I want to have a nice group of folks so that we can hear kind of their viewpoint. And, there are some decisions to make as a municipality about whether or not we want to spread out the cost of providing this service differently than we're doing now. I know for me, I want the non-homestead group to be looked at prior to probably the completion of this. But I want to make choices there that are not going to impact this too much, which is going to be a little tricky, but we're going to try to do the best that we can to retroactively help some of our churches and benevolent associations. And more than likely some of our small businesses as well. Right now, the trouble is sort of defining what that means, because, we don't have a ton of non-homestead places here. But we want to be mindful of the difference between GE and Niskuna wine and liquor, so to speak. So that's something in process. Raftellus actually also offers, I received a different scope of services for help with that advisory group. It's a little bit more expensive. It's a little bit more expensive than I had hoped. But I thought I would share out the information just so that we have it. So we have a big picture about what all of this looks like. The woman that I spoke with essentially was reiterating our thoughts, which was, hey, we could have communicated all of this information a heck of a lot better last year. And she went through the process of, really incorporating everybody's thoughts into things and at the same time educating them on our infrastructure and the challenges that we face as an aging infrastructure community, which is, much of the Northeast. So I think that being able to share that information out, while also maybe getting some help from them in determining we don't have enough money, nor do we think we're going to raise enough money to make the infrastructure changes that we have to make. So what does that look like? Are we going to be funding repairs in perpetuity? Or are we going to be setting things aside so that we can fix the things that we know are going to cause chaos, like water tower? So those are the decisions that we have to make, and we have to kind of stop looking at it from a 1, 2, 3 year perspective and start looking at it from like a 25-year perspective. And so the more that we can incorporate the community in this, I think the better. But that comes with a lot of management and a lot of needs beyond the employees that we have here, because we're already, lacking for employees. So we have the ability to hire this out. I imagine the second part of this, which I just handed out, the help of the advisory group, would be a secondary conversation. I'm saying, in my opinion, we absolutely need the rate study, which is what's on the agenda. But the second thing that I handed out is something to consider as we, move into this phase where we're really looking at things closely, and do we need help kind of guiding those conversations? So that's out there. Water and sewer rate study has a budget up to $10,000 for each fund. So it's an up to amount because they don't know how much stuff, I don't have another word for it, that we're going to give them. So they don't know totally what they're going to be looking at. Because they're relatively unfamiliar with the software that we use, and they're asking for a whole lot of different materials. So once we get all of that over, we'll have a much better picture about what it looks like. But the cost is not to exceed $30,000 over 3 funds. We are trying to be as creative as possible in finding it in this year's budget, because there's not a whole lot of space in next year's, as we know. So we're working through using some interest money, hopefully to offset costs in other areas so that we can find the money to pay for this. And that will be on for discussion and resolution, hopefully for the December 17th meeting. They are ready to go. As soon as we're ready to go, they're ready to go. So the quicker we can do it, I say the better.
How long, well, I guess it depends on how much we give that, but how long the process?
So that's a good question, because I was like, can we get this done like tomorrow, right? So they're like, really, even if we did everything perfectly, it'd still be like a 90-day turnaround. And he said, that's still pretty quick. But he said, if you're looking to have community involvement and input, that drags it out, obviously, because you're going to need to schedule meetings and things like that. I felt like that part of it was important, but that's something that we can talk about. Maybe there's a balance in between that. I said, I'm using like May as a hard deadline, because I want the rates to be passed for the next billing cycle, because we're going to miss it this time. It would pass before the end of June, right? And then it would be effective for July 1. That's when it's. Now, in that time, are we going to be exploring other billing options that might help us adjust that timetable? I hope so. But that's at least a hard deadline for what we are doing currently. Is that what the second item is on here?
So
That's something different.
That's the annual maintenance contract.
Okay,
There's-
what's the bill? Okay, so how long are we like roped into that for?
It's annual. Any process to switch over will
I
be
know.
time.
I know.
So I don't want to see. We can ask to see if we can do a 6-month maintenance contract.
I'd love that. If you want, I can give them a call and see if I just want to keep our options open. I don't want to pay for something that we're not going to use.
I feel like they're gonna charge us more to
Yeah.
do 6 months, but it
I
might be
mean-
worth
I mean-
it might be.
Well, they screwed us. I'm like, sorry for saying that so bluntly, but they have completely screwed us. So I'm hoping I can use that as leverage to say, you know what, you made our lives crazy. So, they screwed up the PDF the first time, right?
PDF that was generated by Flexible, by Harris, which they did. We dropped off the template.
Right. So then it had to be redone.
Then I had,
And they took forever doing the rebill, which is why there was such a lag in between those double bills.
yeah, we sent them the information to do, and it took them
Weeks.
weeks to read.
It was just, it should not have taken that long. It should not have been that kind of a process.
Harris, the Flexible does not, when Chris goes to print bills, she has to send the file to them now and have them generate the bills.
Because they don't,
It take this, our installation that's here at Town Hall cannot do that anymore. We exceeded what the capacity of the software is.
and they don't really support it anymore either, right? It's
They
an old
support
software.
it. It's, yeah, but it's, I know your office likes Flexible and but it's just, yeah, which
Is the payment
the
thing?
payment, yeah.
It's the payment thing.
Well, and e-checks, but
Yeah.
Flexibility are how we enter the payments.
Right. I'm hoping it's gonna be a heck of a lot easier.
We,
To print the bills.
it crashes the server when we better print the bills.
Yeah.
Chris can't physically
We
print
can't
bills.
print one bill and then have like I do tax bills and then you send
One
them,
bill at a time.
no, then you set a PDF of all the different bills and send them to Lindsay's.
What you're saying makes total sense.
Yeah,
And it's beyond the capacity of this software. That's why I don't want to be roped into it for another full year.
we can't step out of that. I'm dragging this on, I'm sorry.
No, no.
We can't step out of that portion of, let's do the bills ourselves.
The bills are generated by the software.
Right, like, are you saying we could take an extract and then
Right.
generate the bills ourselves?
Right.
We
Yeah,
could, except we would,
The contract. We can read them, because that is a significant problem.
would do that, except what you're saying is when you try to kick that information out to even put it into another program, the server goes down.
I've had issues.
Okay.
So when she runs the bills, it creates a PDF file. The PDF file is corrupted whenever she tries to do it in-house. So she has to send them, they log, I don't even know the details. I've asked them that, and they said that, well, you have a lot of accounts. I said, well, does that mean that you've outgrown your program, your software? And that's when they started backtracking on.
It's not good software, I'm sorry.
And the
It's not.
reporting,
It's terrible.
I have issues. I don't know how the reporting is for your office, Diane, but I can't, half the reports that are listed that I want to run, don't
Can't do
run.
it.
They crash. And I don't know why, what the issue is, and any change that Chris has to make to the bill, she has to call them and have them make the changes. We don't have the local control, which it's always been that way.
It's old. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But
And I don't think we take it I'm taking this decision lightly to look at other options. And we would definitely look at everyone out there to see what's available and involve everyone. Wow.
The only thing we've done is looked at a kind of like global payment system that is relatively outside of this utility billing. It's more of like a payment processor. And that would be the one that connects to Munis. Remember that one that we looked at? We didn't really go any further with it because this was like, this is really the issue, right?
System these so far.
Yeah. What did you look at?
I only just briefly, Tyler,
Yeah,
no.
we haven't,
No, I
we haven't dug in.
Um,
But if we do dig in, I don't want to be like, I agree. Should be much more flexible than it is. And I know. So I'll check on that and see if I can get it to 6 months.
just something to add about the Grantellus.
Yeah.
Colony just use this company to go through and do the same thing that we want them to do. We evaluate. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Says, but I'm like, there's everything in New York, so that's wonderful, yeah.
This is only her communications piece of it. The actual, so this guy lives down the street, the rep lives down the street on Windsor Drive. And I was like, why didn't you come visit us sooner? So he's local. He was very informative. They've done a ton of work in New York. They had a lot of great references, and we only found them because of you talking to Colleen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
I was just like,
yeah.
I was just worried that.
Let's see, so, next. Let's see, wastewater treatment plant. Just an update on the organic waste program. We received the final data back from the labs for the different, pilot,
Yeah.
the different, deliveries of way. Everything looks good. I sent the information over to our consultant, partly Hughes as well, to have them look at it. And since they drafted the original letters to DEC, I had them send a letter to DEC on our behalf we'll co-sign, but just so that we maintain the same channel we
Yeah.
had, and we're waiting for a response. So,
We have an ETA on that response?
yeah,
We have an ETA on that response?
no, I actually just got the final, information today, so. But everything is looking very good as far as the results. So in the meantime, I did tell Giovanni to hold off just for a little bit. They keep sending me messages asking, can we come back, and I'm waiting until we hear back, because I don't wanna,
Jeopardize.
yeah.
I don't want them back until they.
I know, but they pay their bill
Sorry.
first.
Sorry, it's $24,000. We can, so much loss. I mean, if they want to pay their bill and then we can, move forward, then that's fine. Or if they want to negotiate
That's
a payment plan or something, but I have literally nothing in from them at all.
We can tie the two together.
I'd love to have them come back and start pumping. I really would, so that we can meet the revenue, but in order to meet the revenue, the bills actually have to be paid.
It's frustrating.
The response that we're waiting is from DEC.
From DEC.
DEC has it.
Yes. We should be
So once
quick
they,
turnaround.
once DEC responds to his approval, and once Giovanni pays, we can start accepting way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for the time that we were receiving it, we did not have any major issues with the plant. Digesters handled the,
Except they want to pay.
Yeah, but as far as like.
As
the
far as the
plan
numbers
itself,
go.
No issues for them.
Yeah, as far as the plan itself. Because that was a concern, right? We didn't know how it was gonna
Oh, yeah.
affect.
we needed them too, because we needed to have a pilot program. So we used them to bring in waste, which was good for us. We were able to prove to the DEC. It appears that everything has very little impact on the plant. So going forward, and Chobani has not said they don't want to pay.
No, they haven't, but they're not paying, and I don't have a signed contract from their end.
Yeah, and.
Which
every
is,
time I-
they need to uphold their part of the
Yeah.
agreement, and, it's hard for me to justify a $24,000 receivable to an auditor. After 12/31, that, you've taken this since September and you're not collecting. I mean, they're gonna
Right.
say, why didn't you shut them down?
Giovanni knows that they was $24,000.
You're billing them again today?
Yes. And they also haven't signed the contract. They keep saying that it's sitting in legal.
That's why I'm concerned, Jason, to be honest, because they didn't sign theirs, their end of the contract.
And they
They
said that
keep
they,
telling us they're going to, but they haven't. Right.
12 weeks. 12 weeks are up. We got what we needed out of that. So now
Something's being done.
yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I didn't want to stop for them mid pilot and say, because then we started all over again. Active issue. Okay, sludge dryer. The sludge dryer was one of the only major components of the supermarket not updated with the upgrade. Or replaced, should have been replaced, in my opinion, but it's now close to 20 years old. I need to have it inspected again because it's not working as well as it should be. It's clogging, causing issues, and we lose days worth of work just tearing it all apart and taking all the sludge back out, which is not a pleasant job. And every time we deliver, we dispose of sludge that's not dry to the landfill, it costs us money. Because, basically a truckload to the landfill is around $1,000.
Oh, right.
So if we can reduce the volume going to the landfill, so every day that that's down, we're gonna be spending more money for sludge disposal, so it's, in my mind, it's worth having the, company come and look at it, give us an, give us a 2-day evaluation, tear it all apart, tell us what we need to adjust, correct, replace, and then, there may be a secondary bill to do repairs to it, but
How much does it cost for them? to do that?
it's $8,975 for days. They're coming from Texas.
They know what they're doing with
I
their
feel like we
sludge.
dealt with them before with the sludge dryer, didn't we?
Yes, yeah, yeah, so our sludge dryer was purchased, and the company that we bought our sludge dryer from went out of business probably about 2 years after we bought our sludge dryer.
Sounds like the phones we bought.
Sounds about right. So many of the former employees of that company formed a new company, and they service they have all the plans, all the drawings, everything from the original company, from Penton, and they go around the country and keep them running. And we did pay them about 5 years ago to do it all on it. And I said at that time, it's gonna get us about 5 years. And here we are, 5 years later. But a full replacement of that whole piece of equipment is more than $1 million. So putting some money into it is worthwhile, to extend the life of it.
But we really need to look at that as a long-term capital investment. We're there, right? Because like we're starting to throw good money.
So there's an alternative method as well as for dewatering the sludge that we're looking at too. So if this gives us time to keep the dryer running longer, so we can get the other piece of equipment piloted and tested and if it works and does what we need it to do. This company's in Greenwich, New York, not in Texas. So we already have 2 of their pieces of equipment at the plant.
It's less than $1 million, I hope, to do that, or.
We'll see, but we have to do the test first to make sure that it will do it. We have to reduce the water content of the sludge enough to make it worthwhile. Because right now it's coming out about 20% solids out of the belt press, and we need to get it closer to 80% solids, because that additional 60% of water is not worth trucking to Albany and filling a landfill. So that would be my request, to do a resolution, because that is a public works job, which is above my threshold to hire them to come in and do the inspection. One part that we know that is bad on the dryer right now is the thermal fluid pump, which has to be working before they come in, because I'm not going to waste time
Right.
and having a piece of equipment down for them to tell me, oh, that's bad too. I don't think it's not the reason why it's not working, but it failed just after we contacted this company. So I've got Keith calling around to get prices to rebuild the pump or replace it, and I don't have a definite number at this point, but it's a tentative resolution. I would like to get that done before we have that other company come.
So we would have to have that figured by the 11th.
Yes, yeah, I mean,
I'm just throwing that out there as a
I-
reminder because our
yeah.
meetings are back to back. this
Really?
month.
Yeah, I requested information. This has been
Yeah, Wednesday, the 11th.
at the local pump shop. In fact, our pump's over at Emmer Pump right now. They tore it apart and they're looking at it. They can't get responses from the company that makes the pump to give them pricing on the parts. This is it's
That's a sludge, man.
yeah,
Problem.
so,
You know? My profound thought for the day.
so I hope to have it within the next day or two, have the price, and I'll send that information to Elena, and whether or not it needs finance or actually would it be resolution at this point.
Maybe resolution.
The water treatment plant. The request has been made by the plant operator to do epoxy coating on the floors in two of the buildings that are down there. We just did the major overhaul at the plant down there. Our staff painted a lot of the tanks with epoxy paint, and did a lot of the cleanup, but they wanted to bring in a company to do an epoxy coating of all the concrete floors. Because you have aggressive environments, chlorine gas, adds, some of the protection from slipping and falling. Basically the stuff you would use, the industrial grade version of what you would use in the garage. Just to coat everything, seal everything up to keep it from degrading. And we were able to get 2 quotes, and the low quote is $14,725, and we give that money. It's your budget for it.
But you know, I was just gonna ask that. Literally, I was just
I
gonna
wouldn't ask
say,
for it if I
do we
didn't
have
have money.
money in the budget?
Yeah.
I mean, is it something that's, it's gonna protect, I mean, do we need that much protection on the floor?
Well, price soaks in, right?
Yeah, well,
It's, yeah, destroying it.
anything in one of those, in the filter building, I mean, even in there, anything that's not painted rusts and starts to degrade. This would coat some of the all too. It's.
I feel like it's a safety thing too, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's not soaking
It's always,
into the-
it's always wet. And so if you have something a little more grip to it too, yeah.
But it might be soon, keep it clean and.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like the idea of having, especially on the water plant, everything nicely painted and clean so that it's, you're not collecting garbage. Sewer plant's different. It's like. But that would be my.
Word of the day, it's the word of the day.
And this, the next item. So when we had the plant upgraded, our former IT director told the system integrator, you don't need to provide network security. I can do it myself. And our alarms don't work all the time at the water plant because the server needs to be rebooted because this network security isn't.
Why are you looking at me like that? I'm meditating because it makes my blood pressure go up.
If I can figure it out, it's.
Expensive as that.
So the original integrator that we.
No, it's just frustration that it wasn't done correctly the first time.
I said, what do we need to do to make this what you are? Josh is being included, yeah. But Avani Control Systems was the contractor who did the upgrade. And he had suggested you need to put in this particular system. So it's $12,200. That's spread between the water plant and the joint projects.
How much is that?
The JP. But we do have money too that we can together for that, so. And
Save it. Just. $1,000.
I would, we aren't getting, we don't necessarily get chlorine ones, so if there's a chlorine leak at the plant.
Or I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just thinking that it wasn't done right the first time. You know, like the same.
I feel like that's the story of the year.
Yeah.
So,
That's.
And that's the story of the day.
what else here? Transfer station, landfill, just an update. Our post closure, monitoring has been completed. Report will be sent to DEC. So hopefully there was anything that was red flag. It's just a standard every year we have to do it. We had to do it slightly more costly one this year, but next year will be cheaper.
But Barton will do this?
Sterling Environmental.
Did we pay them yet?
No.
Okay. I'm
Is
just
it in the
looking for
budget?
leftover money.
We're scraping it together.
Sterling? I'll look at it.
Sterling, yeah. I haven't seen the final report yet.
Okay, I have 2 comments to add. The first one is an ongoing resident issue with the tractor trailers. Our,
The wastewater treatment plant.
oh, did she email you too?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, duh, it's right here. So we have not been able to find anywhere where we have said that so it really wasn't ever said that there were gonna be tractor trailers, correct? That's my understanding. We
I
weren't
think it
able to
was
find,
very, that was going.
Yeah.
right?
that
Okay,
was the
so
intent.
this is just, that part of it is just a misunderstanding, apparently.
I think it's the length of the trucks and the amount of them that is the concern, right? That they're
Yes.
too wide and too long to travel that way.
And we have a solution from what I understand, right? We were gonna talk to Ray about maybe widening
That's a
that part of the
possibility.
road.
We could,
I can talk to him
Yeah.
about it, but if I can present that as an option, if, I'm gonna meet with him next week to kind of talk through his concerns, and if we have something that can help, we can do that, but it's not gonna help with the number of trucks, because
No.
we anticipate
But it might be
using,
safer.
yeah,
Why?
yeah, so we widened the curve as far as we could go. Because at the time, it was New York State property.
Now we own that.
Now we own the property.
mhm,
So if one thing that I mentioned to Aaron, and it may be expensive and we have to talk to Ray about it. About armoring the shoulder by boxing it out and putting crushed stone alongside of the road.
But when we took ownership of that property, the state was part of our agreement that we couldn't do that.
We wouldn't
was-
we wouldn't develop it, I think is what the term was, right?
sure we could get in and like something written up as an agreement for that, because it's not
Just
like
widen
we're,
that, yeah.
it's not, it's just more for safety.
But we're
Reason
widening
anyway.
that turn back up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So the term is wide. If it's almost double what the width of the road was at the turn now. We can see where the old pavement was and the new.
So we really kind of need to find out if we can do it and get a price for how much it's gonna cost.
And from what I was told in the past, water and sewer can't pay for it.
Well, it would
We
be a
can't
highway
use-
project.
Yeah, we can't use
Water.
water
It
district or sewer district funds to
makes sense to me. It's,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I get that that's the benefit, but it's really a highway
Roadway,
project. That's okay. We can find out what it is and we can make it work. Okay. All right, so that's that part of it. And then also who is it Kathy that posts the minutes?
yes.
Okay, so his,
Oh, she emails the minutes. You want us to post the minutes on the website?
It has to be
They have to
posted. We all post on the website.
I don't know how.
So what we.
Again, though, the
But I
website
think-
inconsistencies, that's
Right,
probably.
so what we do is we don't post our draft. We wait until our minutes are approved at the next committee meeting, and once they are approved, the next day I post them.
Tomorrow we should be posting about it.
Yes.
Me? No. Can you leave the door open, Jeannie?
I have keys.
Oh, you do? Okay. I think that's what she was wondering.
We- Yes.
Okay, so I can catch up on that. I can go back through, I'll at least have minutes from the last few, but we can get that looking the same as the other sites. That was his other concern, was that we weren't adding those in there, but that's an easy fix. Okay, that's that. And we already talked about some outstanding water bills from GE and Army that I'm gonna hopefully follow up on. Yeah, so that's like, here's what I'm trying to find out, and I've said this to a handful of folks that have reached out, but I went to Steck's office 2 weeks ago, and I'm trying to get a definitive answer on whether or not we are able to retroactively change utility rates and then credit back if it's a lower amount. The New York State Comptroller's Office does not have an answer for me. Association of Towns does not have an answer for me. And Steck's office basically said, whatever research you have that's governing anything that has to do with those rates, have Elena write a memo saying, this is our understanding, since it isn't precluded by anything that we can find, here's what we're going to do. I don't think it's an issue because we're talking about,
Can we just do that within, as a municipality?
well, no. We're saying we're gonna send it to Steck in case something happens and he would need to like change the law for just Niskayuna. Yeah, he doesn't think that that's what's necessary because it really isn't spelled out anywhere and nobody can answer the question. But I want to make sure we're covered if we do end up doing this, because I think it's going to be kind of like external to this rate study, because I'm trying to get them some relief a little bit quicker than I think the rate study is going to provide for. And I just to ease their minds even. So the folks that have already paid that higher base rate, we can use that to cover bills for the next however many, whatever. But we need to like I'd want to make sure we're doing it correctly from the beginning. And there doesn't seem to be a correct way to do that. But again, I think because it's a benefit to the entity and not to the town, like we're not changing them retroactively to be higher. I think that will be okay. But again, I feel like I've done my homework on this, and since there isn't an answer, I guess we just
Would it
wait.
fall under like gift of public funds for?
No, because we
Gift
would,
of public funds is only if you're not treating every class the same, and we would be, because we would be
We'd be
treating every
defining the
utility
class.
payer
every
the same.
yeah. It's a little bit sticky, and I want to do this after they start the rate study to make sure whatever we're doing is not going to like completely throw off what they're trying to accomplish.
And it's on track with what their recommendations are.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that was actually recommended, I think, by one of the entities that reached out, maybe one of the churches, no, the VFW maybe, basically said, can you just put us in the residential category, which gives them that lower base rate, which is a little bit more aligned with the way they use water, their meter size, etc. So that might be an option. And then we're basically just taking away some commercial properties and adding in some residential. And we just need to see what that deficit's going to look like, and how we can cover it if we can. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But anyone, if they come in and ask, we're like, that is the group we're targeting, the small businesses, benevolent associations, churches. That's I'm highly aware of that issue. But anyway, yeah, he sent in another one. I mean, I hate telling them like just kind of hang out and wait, but we had one church that didn't pay their bill, and we didn't send it for re-levy. We pulled it out so that we could talk to them about spreading it out if we need to, at least doing that now, so that we could, buy us some time to figure it out.
I mean, they all know that we're working on it, that we have a plan. So
They don't all know because we haven't really defined.
one of the ones that shout.
Yeah, yeah.
The ones that concern.
One account that did have that question
Oh,
about,
shoot. Yeah.
is under, well,
Which one was that?
I-
You're saying we don't need a resolution for that one that we had, the leak issue? The one that we said we could adjust. So we should talk about that right now? I don't know. Did we talk about that? We didn't talk about leak, an adjustment of somebody's bill.
No.
We didn't, right?
Yeah.
Last month?
Last one.
That's the same one.
2 months ago.
I think that might have been a different one. This one was that one was one issue. This one was one where there was some kind of miscommunication about checking on the leak, and they waited to get it repaired. That's the one we didn't do. So, okay, okay. So then I just want to make sure we do that because she came in, so I'm trying to get essentially we're trying to give her an estimated bill versus the one that she received for sewer portion.
That was a leak inside that crawl space.
That was the other one. This is the one that, it should be both water and sewer.
Okay, there's two that had weird situations
The crawl space was just sewer.
because it was outside.
Yes,
That one
that's
we
the
did.
We did already, yes.
This one was I don't remember the circumstances, but anyway, it was something like we just don't have enough people and we didn't get to it.
Somebody
quick
went
enough.
out, they weren't there.
Yes, and
And
then they didn't. go
Where
back.
we ended up not sending anybody back.
So it
somebody
was
back
our,
because
it was
like-
our bad for not going back and checking on the leak. So,
Yeah, 87 Oakland.
okay, can we add that? Do we have
Yeah.
to take a vote on it?
So 87 Oakmont, they came in after the first, after the change in rates the first spring. They came in, they had a high bill. We told them we'd have someone go out and check it. They were unable to communicate or get back and forth with them. They paid their bill in the first half, but then no one, no one ever went back. And then they came in again, had the leak. And then we did go back after they came back the second time. We helped them find the leak. They fixed the issue. We went back and found out that they are in fact not running high any longer. And we we feel that we have some responsibility because we told them we'd come and help
It was
them.
the leg. It
And
was,
then we did.
so then we're gonna estimate based on previous bills for that time period and make that adjustment to their bill.
Yeah.
Um,
They did, so they were levy.
yes, so we took them off. Anybody that had payment issues, there really weren't that many. I think we pulled like 3. Okay, that we just sort of said, okay, one of them was a church. We were like, we're not gonna, and then another one had a different
It's 3, yeah.
circumstance. 2 churches or something. Large residential, because we assumed, okay, this is like, if they're not paying it now, it's not gonna be fantastic if it gets sent to their escrow account. So let's talk to them about spreading it
I
out.
think they had fixed their issues.
Yes.
Yes.
Did they escrow?
I don't know, but we were sort of pulling it out to give them the option to kind of spread the payments out instead of it being like just sent in that one lump for January. But those were circumstances that we had like talked with them and said, okay, how can we make it work? Because it stinks when you have the leak. And if we can find a reason to adjust it in a leak situation, awesome. But if we don't have a reason to, all we can do is help them spread the payments.
I mean,
But
we
it-
have proof that there was a leak.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yes.
The other one was just a leak. I don't even know if they repaired it. I just know that it's really,
I think they did go back and.
that's the other woman, the woman, that
Stanford.
Monica's the daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have to vote on whether or not, well, how do we make that motion? We don't know the dollar amount. Do we need the dollar amount?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we did that.
Do we want to put, okay, so then why don't we add this, we could probably do this as a resolution for finance, right? With the actual numbers? Can we do that for
Yes.
Oakmont?
Yeah.
Okay, and that will be the only adjustment, and then the other ones are not adjustments, they're just,
I mean, that's something we typically do, right? If there's no leak, we typically adjust.
No,
it
we,
depends.
if they had a leak, we wouldn't adjust it. The issue, the problem is they came in and we said, we'll come and help you. And
We
we didn't.
didn't.
And they waited and waited and we never showed up. And then they just said, okay, we'll just pay the bill. And then when they,
Then they get the next bill and
The
it's
next
still.
And they were like,
an issue.
"Ah."
so then they came back, they saw me and I said, I'll have someone at your house tomorrow. And they were at the house the following day. And that's, and they found the leak and it stopped. They were trying, but it was,
So we,
miscommunication within,
So we'll take the lumps for that period of time, because, I mean, it was not for, it was more, I think, that we just don't have enough bodies to follow up as quickly and things fall through the cracks when we don't have a good, a robust set of employees. But I'm glad that we could at least get them some relief for this. Okay, so we'll put that on finance. The other ones I don't think need to go to finance. They're just gonna be billing situations external to the tax levy. Okay, I think that was all I had to add.
anybody have anything else to say? Awesome. The next meeting will be Thursday, January 2nd, 4:30. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Favor.
We are adjourned.
Fabulous. Okay. Time for a nap.
Bad.
Oh, right?